Good morning and hi to Dr. Goh. So I will present my slides. Based on situation given, there are monetary and fiscal policy that have been taken by Malaysia. So first of all, monetary policy means economic policy that can control and growth rate of the money supply. Central Bank or BNM, which is Bank Negara Malaysia, is responsible for developing these guidelines, and there are 3 tools of monetary policy, but only 2 that Malaysia government use. First one is interest rate adjustment, means central bank can influence interest rate by changing the discount rate. The discount rate means the interest rate at which central bank charge the bank in short-term loans. Next, change reserve requirement. Usually, central bank set a minimum amount of reserve that a commercial bank must hold. By changing the amount, central bank can influence the amount of economy. Next is expansionary monetary, which means can increase the money supply through lower interest rate and lower reserve requirement. So the action that Malaysian had been taken is, the first one is overnight policy rate, which is OPR, means the minimum interest rate that bank charge when lending money to each other. Example from the article, as of March 2020, OPR has been reduced twice. The first one is reduced from 3% to 2.75% on January 22, and the second one is reduced from 2.75% to 2.5% on March 3, 2022.
The Monetary Policy Committee of Bank Negara during its final 2021 meeting has decided to maintain the overnight policy rate at 1.75%. This is after taking into account the risks to Malaysia's economic growth remain tilted to the downside on external and domestic factors amid lingering COVID-19 pandemic concerns and expectations for inflation to remain moderate. In a statement, BNM said that risks to Malaysia's economic growth outlook include weaker than expected global economic growth, worsening supply chain disruptions, and the reimposition of containment measures due to new COVID-19 variants. The central bank notes that while economic activity weakened in the third quarter due to containment measures, now with the relaxation of restrictions, the latest high-frequency indicators show that economic activity had recovered from the trough in July. Going into the new year, the growth momentum is expected to improve, supported by expansion in global demand, higher private sector spending as economic activities resume, and continued policy support.
Means amount of cash that bank must have to ensure that is able to meet liabilities in case of sudden withdrawal. From the article said, statutory reserve requirement, which is SPR, ration will be lowered by 100 basis points from 3% to 2% and release 30 ringgit Malaysian billion into bank system. There are some effects of expansionary monetary policy. First one is stimulation of economic growth. Business make more substantial capital investment, and consumers are free to spend money because of the cost of borrowing decrease with expansionary monetary policy. Second, decrease unemployment. Because of economic growth and more capital investment, there are more jobs available within the economy. Last one is increased inflation. More money circulating through economy means higher inflation. This can be beneficial or harmful depending on situation. Next, fiscal policy. Fiscal policy refer to the action taken regarding taxes and government spending. Government use this to move the economy as a whole. This can affect inflation and customer spending. Expansionary fiscal policy. Government does these 2 methods are to stimulate aggregate demand, prevent recession, and boost the economy as a whole. The first method is tax cut, and second is increase government spending. By lowering taxes, consumer can spend more money, and by increasing spending, can create jobs and improve economic efficiency. The action that have been taken by Malaysia regarding fiscal policy. First one is wage subsidy. Example from the article said, there are subsidy programs that help to support employers who have been affected by COVID-19.
Government allocates 20,107 billion ringgit to 357,402 employers through wage subsidy program, said Finance Minister.
Second is tax incentive and relief. Example from the article, there are Prihatin package that help people on business and Penjana package focusing on empowering the citizens. Company also could claim tax deduction on expenses to provide employees with disposable personal protective equipment, which is called PPE. Then vaccinated. Based on article, government spending estimated cost of 8.9 million doses vaccine within 4.64 billion ringgit Malaysia. This vaccine was to cure people and can grow the economy after pandemic.
Of its population against COVID-19 within a year. Its inoculation drive will begin at the end of this month. Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin says vaccines are a ray of hope in the fight against the pandemic. At the same time, Mr. Muhyiddin has warned that those who don't comply with virus restrictions will face tougher penalties. Malaysia is battling another surge in COVID-19. 4,500 new infections have been reported today, and that's affected how people will be allowed to celebrate the Chinese New Year next week. Melissa Goh with the latest.
Despite the rising community spread in densely populated Klang Valley and industrialized states of Johor, Malaysia Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin said the government wants to avoid a full lockdown, which will be detrimental to the economy. But he needs the people to take the SOPs seriously and ensure full compliance. Otherwise, it won't work. Now, under the MCO 2.0 that's extended till February 18th, more business sectors were allowed to operate, including the hair salon.
Lastly, a special allowance, which is government staff will get extra money from government, such as medical doctor and other medical personnel will get 400 ringgit Malaysia and frontliner staff will get 200 ringgit Malaysia monthly. The effect of fiscal policy, the first one is increased money supply means that increase the availability of fund which lead to better economy. Second is lower unemployment means that lead to a greater demand for a product as the consumption increase. Normally, when a quick fix is attempted, the solution will create unintended consequences that may affect the problem. So, these are some negative impacts regarding monetary and fiscal policy. For monetary policy, central bank rate cuts may not be sufficient to gain credit from commercial bank if credit from lenders such as bank is already low. Expanded monetary might can increase consumer spending, but aggregate demand can be influenced by factors other than monetary policy. Lastly, low interest rates are not always enough to overcome the challenge of low self-confidence. For fiscal policy, it will cause overextended debt levels and high inflation rates. As funds are available, both businesses and individuals will take advantage of lower interest rate by assuming higher level of debt that are unsustainable over time and can lead to damaging consequences. During of high inflation, price will rise faster than wage, and real wage will fall with standards. Means that the real interest income on saving will fall and currencies also will fall. I think that's all from me. Thank you.